Hey guys, welcome back. Working on Project Swiss Cheese again today. Looking at getting the firewall in and getting this cowl replaced. So I threw this up there just quickly, so like a test run, dummy fit, and what became fairly quickly apparent was that the top, it's a pretty good fit, except the top edge of this firewall that goes up to here actually has quite a bow in it, like this way. So it was kind of flush here and hanging back at each side. And I'll see if we can catch it on camera for you. But if you put a straight edge across here, you'll see that we've got probably close to a ½ inch gap, certainly 3/8 of an inch gap here in the middle that this firewall bows. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of shrinking along this edge and just straighten that out, and that'll just make it fit in nicer, and not be permanently under tension. So I'm going to break out the shrinker stretcher and see if we can't get that straightened out. Okay, now it's a little awkward, it's a little big, but it's not too bad. Alright, we'll sneak that in there. Now it's not going to need, if I can reach the pedal still. It's a little awkward, but alright, just give it the eyeball test. That's a little closer. We've got quite a deep flange here, which I'm going to make smaller anyway, so we might have to trim this back a little bit so we can get the shrinker jaws closer to that 90 degree. We'll have another little crack at it. Is that getting us what we want? Not really. Yeah, we'll give it one more try, but I think we're going to have to trim this edge back a little bit to get it a bit closer. No, that's not getting us where we need to be. So, let's break out some tin snips, make some adjustments. Sneaking up on it. Yeah, we're still not there though. Yeah, we're starting to get there. What I just went away and did was actually put a bit of lube on the shrinker jaws, just to allow them to work a little bit better. And yep, that's definitely helping. Got a little spot about here. It's pretty straight till we get to about there. And we've got a little dip right about there, so we'll one more little shrink in there. And I feel like it'll be good to go. But yeah, that's an awkward size piece to try and control and get your foot to the pedal and do all that stuff. And my micrometer's telling me that that's pretty good. Not sure how much you'll pick up that on camera, but that's a whole lot straighter than it was. Might just give it one more there. Got about a 1/16 of an inch there. And look, it's a Firewall, you know. We just don't want it 3/8 to a half of an inch out, you know. Yeah. Just got to persevere, you know. Yep, that got it. It's nice and straight now. So, what I have to do, we've already got the side panels punched, ready for some spot welding. I've got to clean these up. Yeah, so we've got a clean bare metal to weld onto. So I'll get that done. We'll get it mocked up. Alright, so now we've got the Firewall partially installed. Got to get the actual cowl panel prepped. So what I'm going to just spin the camera around and show you what I'm up to. Here's your cowl panel, the lower. Now these little pieces here, well, I kind of, I'm not sure why, but I refer to them as like top hats. Now that is the fresh air inlet for the Mustang. Comes in through the little grills that go across the middle between the wipers, which I'm sure you've all seen, and same on this side, this little top hat. That is the cause of most of the problems with Mustangs rusting out the cowls, in that if we zoom right in, you'll see that this is a separate piece and there's little spot welds around here. You can kind of get the angle just right, you can kind of see a little spot weld there. Now it doesn't come off or anything like that, but you have to put seam sealer around. Well, they have to. They did at the factory. They put seam sealer around this to stop water getting under the edge. The trouble with seam sealer is, you know, this is one of the hottest parts of the car, and it bakes, and eventually after, you know, a number of years, you know, might be 10 or 15, or, you know, at some point that seam sealer fails. It may not even be that long, depending on whether the car's garaged or not. That seam sealer fails, and then water gets underneath this little edge here, creeps under there, and basically gets trapped there and stuck there, and causes rust. And yeah, so what I'm going to do, because this car's getting air conditioning, and you know, when you get like vintage air, they give you little plastic blanks for these holes, so you actually blank them off. They're no longer used. So the main reason for this sort of top hat or snorkel effect is to stop water getting in inside the car, like coming right in and inside the car. So what I'm going to do is take this top hat off completely, and then put a panel over the hole in the middle, and seal it up permanently. You know, paint it, and then you're just never going to have a failure problem ever again doing it that way. So yeah, that's what I'm about to do. So yeah. Hey, I've been busy. We've got these areas that were rusty, we've got those repaired, just some small patches in there. It wasn't a big area. So yeah, got all that. Same on this side, got that patched up, a new little section here, just added some 16 gauge, and we got the lower cowl prepped. So as you can see, we've got some weld through primer sprayed on there, because this is just an extremely rust prone area, so we need as much protection as we can get. And obviously punched all the plug weld holes in there. Now it's time to throw it on. That engine first. Wants to jump out of there. I'm going to put our bolt through here, hold that in place. Just finger tight on those is all you need. And we can push that down into place. That down into place. Obviously we're going to need to clamp it. And get to welding. Right, let's get some clamps and do this thing. got enough points there to start welding. Some of these areas, I might pull this down with a Tech screw here, because it's not a good way to clamp on these back corners, and we need to have that, obviously the front edge in the right location and these back corners. These back corners here, if you can see, very critical, because this is where your windshield's going to fit into. So if we don't have that, if that's sitting up too high, you're never going to get your windshield in, which is chances are the car's going to be painted at that point, so that would be rather disappointing to find out the windscreen won't fit after paint. So I'm going to get these pulled down with some Tech screws, so let me go away and come back and do that. Alright, so even at that time-lapse speed, like it takes a while, right? There's a lot of plug welds to do. And I almost got there and we ran out of gas. So I've got to go and get some more gas and get a few things going. And yeah, so let me do that. We'll be back in a second. Okay, so got more gas, finished welding this lower cowl on. Now we've got to address these top hats or fresh air vents. So that's the piece we cut off earlier. Just that went there. So what I've been doing is cutting out basically just a circle of some 20 gauge and going to weld that in just on top of here, trying to drop it through. We've just trimmed it down so it's exactly the same size as the the little step up here. Now we can burn around it, and not going to get any water through there, not going to get any air through there. There's no double layers to trap water and cause rust, so we'll get that burned in there, and then obviously get it primed and painted and some prep work like that. We'll grind off a bunch of these welds, these plug welds, and get ready to put the top part of the cowl on, the upper cowl. So I'm going to crack onto this, and I will put it on time lapse and go from there. There you have it, just burned around there. Got the other side to do, and then yeah, very shortly we'll be putting the top on it. It's going to start looking a bit more like a car again. I'll just quickly grab the camera and kind of let you take a look at what I've been doing there. So any water that gets down there is just going to drain out in this corner here where it's meant to, and whoop, and all will be good. Alright guys, let me get that other side done, and I'll be back in a second. Right, I've been busy. Now, what I've got the rest of the welding done, we've got the upper cowl completely prepped, all the holes punched, drilled, the primer, weld through primer done. Now, what I've done on this, you'll see this is all pretty in black. What I did do was primed all the bare areas with the weld through primers that are going to get welded. Then I masked it out, and I've put another top coat in through here of just matte black or semi-gloss black. Now that is to protect this metal, it's such a rust prone area, right? So if you just put it in here with the black e-coat on it, the e-coat will not live that long in any kind of damp conditions at all. You know, it'll stop the metal, the panels rusting while they're in storage getting ready to be installed, but when they're out in the real world getting rained on, you know, that kind of thing, getting washed, soap and water going down there, it will rust, it will give up, it'll rust away. So it's really important that you give this a top coat of just a rattle can of some kind of a top coat finish paint, like a couple of good coats to protect it. And now obviously you can't weld over that, so what I did was I put the weld through primer down first and then masked that off. So I'm hoping you can see here that we got this kind of greyish brown, which is the weld through primer. So I laid that down and then masked it all off and then hit it with the black. Now it is still going to be important to get, once this is all together, is to get some cavity wax up in as much as you can in here, and you have to reach in. There's going to be a little hole here and a little hole here, and then obviously your grills that go here on the Mustang. You've got to get in there and just as best you can drown it with as much cavity wax as you can, and this is all steps to help prevent rust. Wherever you actually weld, the weld through primer does burn away, so you've got a potential at every plug weld or spot weld for corrosion. That's why you have to try and get in there with some cavity wax. So, but anything you can do in the meantime is all a big help. So I'm going to get this dropped on here and start doing some welding. So I did exactly the same with this panel. I've got the black on it, masked off the weld through primer, because trust me, that does not like, you try and weld through this top coat, it does not like it at all, not even a little bit. So that kind of, try and get you some, you kind of see that brownish colour is the weld through primer, and then the rest is the top coat, which is going to protect it. Using these same bolts in this front here, that's going to line up with everything else, which is a good control. Now this is all going to get a bit slow for you guys, so I'll put it on time lapse. Okay, right. Well, even in time lapse speed, that's like 20 plug welds, and that's about 110 left. So I'm just going to keep burning this in. It's laying in there pretty good. Obviously, you know, a little bit of finessing. You saw me kind of hammering over here just to get it laying down, because you've got a double edge. You've got a plug welds going through that direction, and you've got plug welds coming in this direction. So this has all got to sit down in here nice. Across the front here is fairly straightforward. You clamp it down. Got to get these corners fitting nice. Yeah, so this stage of the reconstruction is kind of done. What we do next, obviously got to finish this, clean all the welds up, make it pretty, and then that whole subframe's going underneath, which is, you know, goes right through back to the rear suspension and includes all the front rails and everything where I'm standing right now. So that's going to be the next video, but basically that is how you put a firewall and cowl on one of these things. Lots of drilling, lots of plug welds to weld up, and yeah, I've probably got another good solid hour or so of plug welds to do, and then some prettying up. So yeah, I'm going to sign off now and just get my head down and get all this done, and we'll see you on the next video, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. See ya.